Spooky greetings and welcome to Random Info Corner. I am your host, Meanie Tiny, and today we'll be talking about the untold history of Gravedale High. To avoid repeating who the characters are and their respective voice actors, I suggest taking a look at RobTheWonderful. Link is in the description box below. As for me, let us begin on the actual history of Gravedale High. For those of you who don't know, Gravedale High, also known as Rick Moranis and Gravedale High, is a cartoon dating back to 1990. It's a show about a human teaching at a monster school with his students who are disruptive and uncontrollable, even by monster standards. Produced by Hanna-Barbera, the show consisted of 13 full episodes. It ran on NBC from September 8 to December 1 of 1990. This is the entire research that everyone who has reviewed the show could find. So the video is over, right? Not by a long shot. The people who actually grew up watching this show vaguely remember it. Others remember hating it and just forgetting about it. The majority didn't even know that the show even existed until years later when they happened to stumble upon it, like many others who didn't get to grow up with it. Some people, like myself, actually do research on a completely different topic, or are just looking for a monster type show. For me, I was looking for information for a project on cartoon vampires when I stumbled upon Gravedale High. But surprisingly, there are quite a handful of websites that mention Gravedale High, and I will leave at least 3 links in the description box below for you to see for yourself. For other people, they happened to find the show while they were watching some of their fellow YouTubers review the cartoon or even mentioning the theme song, letting the viewer know that the show exists. Believe it or not, this is one of the cartoons that is extremely difficult to find. Luckily, someone was kind enough to record the entire series on their VHS and upload it to YouTube. To this, I give a shout out to Corey and VHS More. Thank you for keeping the show alive. Let's actually switch over to the studio side and see if we can learn more about the show. Struggling with financial debt, the studio's animators left Hanna-Barbera to work at Warner Brothers to produce shows like The Animaniacs. In 1989, David Kirshner was appointed CEO. During this time, he also wrote, directed, and produced many different shows. Gravedale High just so happens to be one of the shows he created. It was also the second horror-themed comedy cartoon of the season, with 1988 telefilm Scooby-Doo and the Ghoul Girls being the first. The show did run in September 8 to December 1 of 1990, but it also ran again in spring of 1991. There were even international versions of the show, such as Germany, Iceland, Italy, Latin American, and Spain. For Germany and Italy, the shows premiered in 1993, but it seems that in Germany, the show was shown until the year 1999. With the ever-growing basic cable stations, Hanna-Barbera Productions premiered the show on NBC. The show was released with the Saturday morning cartoons. Unfortunately, their competition overshadowed the smaller cartoon, with Disney producing Winnie the Pooh, Warner Brothers distributing Beetlejuice, and 1987's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles being shown in over 125 different television stations. The other unfortunate event is that later on, NBC decided to focus more on live action than that of animation. Being the new cartoon was definitely a struggle during the time, but it definitely had commercials, which surprisingly came with Happy Meal toys. Featuring 4 out of the 9 students, the toys were that of Frankentyke, Vinnie Stoker, Sid the Invisible Kid, and Cleopatra. Like I said in our fan art video, every show has a fandom, even if that show is well hidden. The majority fan art for the show is mainly Vinnie and Reggie being best friends or even lovers. On the other side, we have fan fictions. I definitely would like to give a shout out to the writers because the writing is actually really well written and could pass on as an official episode. especially with the forbidden love of the duo, even though they were friends in 1990. Now you know more about the show, and if you don't feel like watching the cartoon, then I will leave at least 2 links in the description box below for you to read on your own time about the characters and episodes. If you need reassurance, you can always look in the description box below. Share this knowledge with other people who might be interested. And remember, I got your back. This has been your spooky host, Meanie Tiny, wishing you Gravedale Pride.